something to crow about. I was born and raised right here in beautiful Petaluma, California, and at the time I didn't even realize I was living in a foodie's paradise. Growing up, my mom would pack my two brothers and I in the car to drive 40 minutes to Bodega Bay, where we would take our buckets and our trowels to go digging for clams. And at the time, it was 50 clams per person. And we would stay out at the coast and dig until our buckets were full. And let me tell you what a feast we would have. When we would get back to the house, my mom would take the clams and a little scrub brush, hold them under cold running water, and scrub them till all of the sand and grit were off. Then she would put them in a big tub of water and cornmeal, and that would process out any sand and grit left in the clams, and then we would feast. Now these clams I purchased at the supermarket, and when you get them home, you still need to run them under cold water, scrub them real well, put them in a bucket or a bowl, uncovered, in your refrigerator, because these little guys are alive. And while you're scrubbing them, if you notice one of the shells has not clammed up and shut all the way, the clam is dead and you don't want to eat it. So the recipe that I'm sharing with you today is called Creamy Italian Clam Linguine. And how we're going to make that is in a saucepan, 2 tablespoons of butter and 4 cloves of minced garlic go into your pot. And we'll just mince up that garlic. I'm using my garlic press today, which makes it super easy. And I don't know about you, but I love garlic. It smells wonderful. Oops. And there we go with the garlic. Now your little clams are going right there into the pot. We're also adding to that a half a cup of clam broth and a half a cup of white wine. There we go. And what I have here is my pound of clams that have steamed for 5 minutes and the shells have all opened. So take the clams out of the broth with your tongs and put them into this bowl over here, because we are going to use this fabulous broth to make our sauce for our pasta. And this broth smells fantastic. This is a recipe that my mom would make when we would get home from clam digging, but today I'm kicking it up a notch. And how I am going to do that is by adding Philadelphia cooking cream, Italian cheese and herb flavor. This is a 10-ounce tub of already seasoned, spoonable, creamy deliciousness that is always ready when you are. And just by adding this wonderful sauce that I can smell Italian herbs, and I know it's filled with Romano and Parmesan cheese, we are going to have an incredible sauce for these little clams that I whipped up for you. I'm putting my heat on low, and I'm going to whisk that cooking cream in there, and it will not take long to incorporate this cooking cream into my broth. And there we go. Now what I have here is a half a cup of dried Parmesan cheese. I'm adding that to help thicken up the sauce a little bit. And next we're going to add half a pound of cooked linguine. And what I love about my pasta pot is you drain it right here at the stove top. You don't have to run to the kitchen sink. And into the sauce it goes. We'll just give it a little toss in there. Now what I have here is 1 cup of chopped clams. These came out of a can. It wasn't as much fun as digging out at the coast, but it's going to be great. So the clams get stirred in there. And I want to let this simmer for about 1 minute. It'll heat everything through. And you probably don't want to heat the clams longer than that because they will get tough and chewy. And another tip while that's simmering is when I cooked my pasta, I snapped it in half before I put it into the boiling water. That is my tip for cooking pasta because I hate those long strands when you're trying to twirl and eat. This makes it much easier. So right here I have my beautiful serving platter. And we will just dump our gorgeous clam linguine in there. Shut your heat off. And then these little clams are going on the top. Doesn't that look beautiful? And there we have it. To garnish my beautiful pasta dish, I'm going to add another layer of flavor on the top. I'm going to pick off about 3 nice big leaves of fresh basil. And I'm going to give them a rough chop right here. And you want to be kind of gentle with the basil so you don't bruise it when you're slicing it here. And that smells so delicious. And we're just going to sprinkle that on the top. Not only does it give some color, but another layer of fabulous flavor to our creamy pasta dish. And now, my favorite part. And I have something fun to show you today. I have my plate right here. And I want to tell you, I learned this from my Italian husband, but when you're eating anything with sauce or gravy, you have to puccia puccia. And I'm going to show you what puccia puccia is. But to do the puccia puccia, you need plenty of sourdough bread, which I happen to have. So you want some of that sauce and those clams. And this is what I was telling you about. The puccia puccia is you take your piece of sourdough bread. You don't even need butter on it because of all the wonderful creamy deliciousness that you've already created in your sauce. And you puccia puccia. You get all of that sauce onto your bread. The flavors are fantastic. I hope you try my recipe. And I really hope you enjoyed my story about my mom and my 2 brothers and I going to the coast and digging for clams. This recipe has surely brought back many wonderful memories.